This chicken pot pie is for dessert. This cupcake is the main course. And this juice is not juice. It is a perfect trio for an April Fool's dinner. First, we're going to start with the juice, and you're going to make Jell-O according to the directions. Pretty simple there. And I recommend not pouring from really high like I did on that first one. You get a lot of bubbles and it doesn't really look very authentic. If you do tend to get the bubbles, then go ahead and take a spoon and just kind of skim it off the top and it'll be okay. And from there, you'll just let it chill according to the directions in the fridge, and you can put a straw in before you do that. It's kind of fun. But once it's all set up, it's not going anywhere, and they'll have some fun when they realize, when they go to take a sip, that this is not juice. To start off our main course cupcakes, we are going to be using these foil cupcake wrappers and separating them. The paper parts are good for when you want to make normal cupcakes later, but we just want the foil portion. And just go ahead and separate out a bunch. I will post the recipe down below and all the things you need, but we're going to start off with ground beef, and you can do oats or crackers or breadcrumbs, whatever works for you. Parsley, onion, garlic, Worcestershire sauce, and some ketchup. And you're going to need eggs for binding it all together. And hands are the best mixers you got when it comes to meatloaf. And I almost forgot salt and pepper. Those are kind of necessary for good flavor. So when it comes time to scoop these out, remember that they are not regular cupcakes. Normally you'd only fill 2/3 full because they're going to rise. But obviously these are not going to rise. They will actually shrink a little bit as they cook and the proteins kind of tighten up. So keep that in mind, that you want a nice full cupcake. Make sure there's plenty in there. And then you're just going to bake according to directions. For frosting, I used some just instant sweet potato flakes, and before I put the flakes in there, when it was just the water and the seasoning, that's when I put in the food coloring, so I don't have to over mix my potatoes, and you get a nice evenly colored batch. So it's smooth, it's easy, it's simple. That's the way I went. These decorating tips I've demoed on this channel before, pretty popular video actually. I really like them, and it just gives that extra touch. One thing that I'm a little hesitant about on regular cupcakes is just how much frosting is on there if you don't really like that much. But when it comes down to it, this gives a good meatloaf to mashed potato ratio, and covers it up well so they can't see the meatloaf. So it is a fun surprise. Obviously they'll be warm, so that's a little curious to people, and they are really densely heavy, but they are tasty and it is fun, and you will have people loving the idea and loving the flavor. Last up, we are going to have our dessert. We're going to take some pie crust. I am not a pie crust expert, so I just bought pre-made, carefully rolled it out. And then taking your pie plate, you're going to fill that up with foil, because we're not actually going to bake it with anything inside. It's just going to be a top crust, and we need that support while it's baking. I decided to trim up around the edges, make it look nice, and then take a fork to it so it looks like a good old pot pie. Took a little bit of water with an egg, mixed it up for an egg wash. You just put that on top so that you get a nice beautiful brown to your crust, and then bake it according to directions. When it comes out, I did let mine get a little dark around the edges, but you're just going to go ahead, carefully flip it over, take off the foil, and you're going to let this cool completely while you get the rest of your ingredients all ready to go. So I'm going to start off with the gravy. So that is just vanilla pudding per the directions with some milk. Let that sit in the fridge, and then some Starburst. The orange Starburst you are going to cut into 4 and just make up cute little cubes. These are your carrot chunks, and it does help if you put it in the microwave for just a few seconds, not long at all, just to give it a little bit more pliability to it, to shape it well and make it easier to cut. For some corn, you are again going to be using Starburst, and you're actually going to make them half the size as the carrot cubes. So you'll get 8 per cube, and you'll just round them off at the top, kind of pinch them off at the bottom, make them look like you just got them out of a bag of frozen corn. For the chicken, you're going to take a banana And we will be slicing this up so that it looks kind of like chicken chunks if you don't look too closely. When you are ready for your dessert, go ahead and dish out some of the vanilla pudding as your gravy, and then you are going to take your chicken, go ahead and place it in there, and then your vegetables. The green little peas there are actually green Skittles that I picked out, but doesn't that just look cute? So go ahead and just mix some in there, make it look like it's in the gravy all natural-like. And you do want to wait to do this until the very last moment because you don't want the bananas to brown, and the green dye from the Skittles actually kind of soaks in there, discolors the pudding, so you don't want it sitting for a while. Go ahead and just put that crust on top, and it looks so authentic. I think so. Doesn't that look like pot pie? Love it. And honestly, the pie crust is really tasty to eat it with. So let me know what you guys think. I hope you enjoy these. If you try them, I would love to hear how it worked out for you and if you were able to fool anyone. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe, and I will be back Thursday with an April Fool's DIY video.